Bill Maher exposes Sunny Hostin for hypocrisy, live on The View. This is a suggestion via Discord. Let's go and check it out, guys. Let's jump into it.
In the first segment, you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected. Yeah. That woke is a word used by the black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But
she's right. And I don't want to sit here and say Sunny Hostin is right in this instance. I've heard the word woke for 20 years. But then the last, let's say 5 to 7 years, it's been completely flipped on its head. And it means something different now. But all right.
By the black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words migrate.
So why is that a bad thing?
It's not
words
a bad
migrate.
thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice. Who's not for that? But words do migrate.
At all concerned about the fact that the International Criminal Court just today issued a subpoena for Bibi Netanyahu?
Well, that's ridiculous.
Bill Maher didn't just disagree with Sunny Hostin on The View, he dismantled her, and in the process, he took down the entire woke Hollywood narrative with the precision of a surgeon and the flair of a roast master.
I definitely hope that was not the example that you made this video over.
His takedown was so clean, it left everyone's jaws on the floor. And the wildest part, these two should technically be on the same side, both lean left, but Bill Maher, he's done playing by the woke rule book, and he made sure Hostin knew it.
Segment, you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected. Yeah.
So what exactly did Bill Maher say that sent the woke warriors in Hollywood into total meltdown mode? What does this fiery clash mean for the ongoing civil war on the left? Buckle up, because we're about to spill the tea. And trust me, you don't want to miss this.
Guys, because even the left is basically, let's say, separated or segregated even by the super progressive and then just the overall center left. That's basically what's happening here. But the right is also fragmented in the same manner. So it's not irregular to encounter things like this.
Any doubt that I was right about the change that's happened in the left? Watching people protest for a terrorist organization like Hamas? That straightened me up pretty quick.
Bill Maher recently appeared on The View to promote his latest book. What we thought would be a simple PR move quickly turned into a verbal flamethrower session. Maher, typically associated with the left, shocked everyone by calling out his own side. Something nobody saw coming. It was as though the woke mob was placed right on the grill, and Maher was there, flipping them with ease. The sparks flew when Sunny Hostin tried to back Maher into a corner. She confronted him about weaponizing the term woke.
That in the first segment, you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected. Yeah. So the term
woke
likes has been, in my
view,
co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. And so I was surprised to hear you use the term because... historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words migrate.
So why is that a bad thing?
Hostin assumed she could paint him as a hypocrite, someone attacking a culture he supposedly belongs to. But Maher wasn't buying it. He saw right through her setup and refused to fall for it. Maher, with his characteristic sharpness, sidestepped the trap by making a simple yet powerful point. Words evolve.
And originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice. Who's not for that? But words do migrate. Now, I'll use any term you want.
Okay.
Because maybe that is a word that's triggering, and so let's not use that word. I don't know. Want to call it the super far left?
Woke, he explained,
Yes.
no longer means what it originally did. It's been hijacked by the extreme left, and Maher was calling out that twisted meaning, not the original intention. What Hosten likely thought was her ace in the hole ended up being Maher's checkmate.
Don't tell me that the left hasn't changed. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a joke. But,
too dark.
Well, maybe it is, but it's true. I mean, you know, if I had any doubt that I was right about the change that's happened in the left, watching people protest for a terrorist organization like Hamas, That straightened me up pretty quick.
Without missing a beat, he boldly called out the woke mob for their support of Hamas, the terrorist group that seeks the complete destruction of Israel. Yes, you read that correctly. Hamas, the same group infamous for promoting genocide against Israel and Jews. And yet here were the woke warriors criticizing Israel for existing, all the while supporting a group with such a twisted and dangerous ideology.
And like, to be honest, a group that would not like any of you guys that are protesting. Let's go be honest here. They would not like any of you.
Maher, no stranger to liberal views, was just as horrified as the rest of us by this madness.
I mean, it's just astounding to me that they can't tell the good guys from the bad guys. I mean, just morally. I mean, let me tell you, if you're for Hamas, just live in Gaza for a day. And I'm not talking about while the war is on. I mean, before the war. Trust me, you would go running and screaming and begging to live in Tel Aviv, a place that has your values.
But Maher...
Yeah, because they have our money, right? I mean, we fund them. Like, they exist because we fund them. So the analogy is tricky, right? In terms of the Gaza Strip, we don't fund them. So they're basically on their own over there. But in comparison, not sticking up for either of these places, I don't think we should be giving any of these places any type of money. Not our money, not my tax dollars. I pay too much in taxes. I didn't sign up for that. Right? But either way, so the difference is that you have a place that basically is funded off of allies' money versus a place that has basically no allies.
Screaming and begging to live in Tel Aviv, a place that has your values.
But Maher didn't stop there. He launched into a blistering critique, exposing the hypocrisy of the woke crowd. He asked the panel, would you really want to live in Palestine, where women's rights are severely restricted and strict laws curtail freedoms?
That's culture.
None of the woke crew would dare, of course, especially Hosten, who championed these causes while failing to recognize the glaring contradictions in her stance. Maher didn't mince words. If they truly believed in freedom and equality, they wouldn't be celebrating the very forces that oppress women and minorities.
Women have no, I mean, this is a show watched by a lot of women. Women have no rights.
Exclusively women.
In this place.
Yeah, guys, this is a different culture. There are absolutely different cultures outside the West. Just like how we in the West look at places that are not considered Western, they look at us the same way. Okay, I just want you guys to know that. Just be fully aware. There's always two sides to every single story. What is right is basically almost exclusively due to our mental conditioning coming from one side of the coin. Right? Who should have the ability to decide how the rest of the planet lives? That's our say now. Like, see, if we can actually get out of the concept of like being the world's police, that'll be absolutely amazing. Right? We'll save some money here.
And a lot of majority Muslim countries around the world. I mean, there is no equal rights as far as speech, dress, opportunities for education, reproductive rights, freedom from sexual violence, freedom from sexual harassment.
The LGBTQ community. Yes.
You that too. But you throw around the term apartheid. There is a gender apartheid in a lot of the world where women are second-class citizens. At best.
And just when you thought Maher couldn't possibly hit any harder, he delivered another gut punch. He pointed to the gender inequality present in many Muslim-majority countries the woke mob often supports. He suggested that if Hosten and her colleagues were truly committed to fighting for women's rights, they should take a flight to these countries and see firsthand how women are treated as second-class citizens.
They won't. They'll just stay here and complain about the air conditioner.
It was a
being sexist,
subtle but devastating uppercut that left Hosten and the rest of the panel scrambling to recover.
Concerned about the innocent civilians that have been collectively punished and murdered, largely children and women. And are you at all concerned about the fact that the International Criminal Court just today issued a subpoena for Bibi Netanyahu?
Hosten, realizing she had lost ground on the hypocrisy front, tried to pivot. In a last-ditch effort, she attempted to paint Maher as a supporter of violence against innocent civilians. A classic move when their arguments collapse. Hosten's tactic was all too familiar. When the left's arguments fail under scrutiny, they go straight to moral grandstanding. But Maher wasn't having it. He saw the move coming from a mile away and fired back with another brutal response that shattered Hosten's strategy into pieces.
That's ridiculous, but it's a war.
Why?
It's a war. Because it's a war and they were attacked and they're defending themselves. Now, this is a war. Do you think Hamas needs to be destroyed? Question.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So how can
Okay,
we do
well,
that with a ceasefire?
All right, so Hamas needs to be destroyed because they are a terrorist organization who say openly that they want to commit genocide on the Jewish people, on the state of Israel.
You
That's
are
what from the
saying
river
everything
to the sea
you can't
means,
say on YouTube.
Okay, and they say it very openly. They said we did this attack. They've attacked Israel 5 times. They've started 5 wars since they were given that land back. They could have chosen to turn that place into any place they wanted to, and they took a lot of money that they took from the international community and they spent it on bombs and guns and building tunnels. So if they need to be destroyed, how do we do that? It's a war. I don't know how to do that, and you don't know how to do that.
But are you
I assume the
concerned about
Israeli.
innocent lives?
Of course, everybody is, but that's what happens in a war. Here's a way to stop that: stop attacking Israel.
Okay, so this is definitely going to be a one-sided argument, guys.
But he is, but that's what happens in a
That's
war.
what it sounds like.
Here's a way to stop that: stop attacking Israel.
Maher's response wasn't
can't
just
both
clever.
side-
It was a
can't
masterclass in
see.
handling these kinds of setups. He
Because obviously, guys, no one wants to see anyone being completely annihilated. That's not a thing. There are some people who just completely ignore those facts. They stick to their side. They stick to their echo chamber and think that what they're saying is true because they feel that way. Again, I've traveled too much. I can't be as closed-minded as he, and I can't. I just, in my head, I mentally cannot, because again, I travel entirely too much. But it would be great if people that have these gigantic platforms did have the ability to kind of see from both angles here. They're both wrong. I'm sorry, bro. They're both wrong. Both parties here are wrong. But all right, let's go.
calmly and precisely dismantled the woke playbook, turning Hosten's accusations into dust. The audience, who had been caught in the crossfire, couldn't help but clap. Even some of The View's panelists and a presumably left-leaning studio audience were visibly impressed with Maher's sharp critique of the woke mindset. Hosten, on the other hand, looked like a deer caught in the headlights. She sat there, stunned, as the room erupted in applause, while she felt the heat.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And it's narrative over truth. You know,
That's-
I mean,
yes.
it's not like when I hear people talk on
That's
either
valid.
side of it, I always think they're lying. They're just telling me half of it.
Yeah.
And I never trust them anywhere until I check out the other half.
But Maher wasn't
But that's not what he's saying. Like, he's saying one thing about how he can kind of see both sides here, but that's definitely not the case. It's generally not the case with most Americans. They have a side, they're going to pick it because they're religious.
done yet. He saved his best shot for the final round when Whoopi Goldberg asked if the media was skewing the news to push a certain narrative. Maher responded with nothing short of brilliance. He tore into the woke agenda once more, calling it the narrative of truth. Maher explained that for the ultra-left, truth is often the last priority. Their real mission, he argued, is to shove their narrative down everyone's throats. No
Yeah,
questions asked.
I can see that. I
Truth
can see
gets
that.
sacrificed for convenience, and anyone who dares challenge them gets canceled. This is exactly why Maher refuses to jump on the woke bandwagon. It's full of people with ulterior motives who want to erode the cultural and traditional fabric that America was built on. Maher's words sent shockwaves through the room, earning him some applause even from unexpected corners, including a few fans from the right. But did you catch Hosten's face during all of this? She looked like she had just seen a ghost and couldn't wait to escape. But naturally, she wasn't about to let Maher have the last word. In one final desperate move, she tried accusing him of abandoning his liberal woke views, but Maher had the perfect response once again.
School liberals, which I would mostly count myself as, old school conservatives, there's still some of those
You've
left.
changed, though.
Wait, what are the other two?
ahead.
Well,
What are the other two?
well, that's what that's what I was trying to find out in this book. I don't think
Yeah.
I have. And you know, we were saying in the break we have to come up with a new word for woke. Let's have a
Yeah.
contest because this is a word that's triggering. But I mean, those concepts that are different than they were 5 years ago.
Maher explained that he was an old school liberal who still believed in social justice.
I can see that. Like, if you ever speak to any like same era Republicans, you'll immediately realize that there was a lot more commonality, right? There was a lot more like being able to sit down and have conversations, and now it's just completely polarized. Everyone is stuck in an echo chamber. They believe one thing, and if you believe anything different from what they believe, you are considered evil, guys, right? I do think Bill Maher definitely is an old school Democrat. Every single thing that he says sounds like what the with people that were a couple generations older than me were speaking.
But not the kind that makes people comfortable in their misery. He argued that his views were fundamentally different from the woke mob, who prefer to leave people stuck in their discomfort while pushing their narrative, even if it hurts them. To drive the point home, Maher gave a classic example. An old school liberal would want to help get homeless people off the street and into safe, comfortable shelters. Meanwhile, the woke mob would prefer to leave them there, on the sidewalk, forcing everyone else to deal with the inconvenience, while anyone who dares to complain is immediately canceled.
Was a term that I thought we kind of came up with because people were calling them bums and vagrants and hobos.
Yeah, now that's
homeless.
word.
No.
It's unhoused.
Well, it's
now.
people
Unhoused.
experiencing
Now it's
homelessness. But they're experiencing it on the street.
Yeah.
Okay, the liberal view of that was, for compassion's sake, we're the liberals, we're compassionate. Let's get these people off the street.
Yeah.
That's not the view of the, whatever word we're going to come up with for this. Their view of the homeless is they're an endangered species that needs to be protected in their natural habitat. Living their best life under a bridge.
Maher's blend of bravery, wit, and sarcasm had everyone watching in awe. The View episode turned into a masterclass in exposing the flaws of the woke agenda. Viewers on social media were quick to praise Maher for putting the woke mob in their place with calm precision. One fan wrote, "I've never seen anyone destroy the liberal woke narrative so calmly and eloquently, while leaving the View panel speechless." Others jumped in to call out the hypocrisy of the women on the show, pointing out how they complain about media bias when they already have 90% of the media on their side. Maher's appearance on The View wasn't just an interview, it was a complete masterclass in calling out woke hypocrisy. From the moment Hosten tried to corner him, Maher handled it like a seasoned pro. The woke mob didn't see it coming, and judging by their collective meltdown, they're still reeling from the fallout. Interestingly, Maher hasn't limited his sharp critiques to just the woke mob. He also took aim at President Biden, questioning his age and whether it was affecting his ability to lead the United States.
Biden just presents as old. It's not really fair.
No.
Because he's almost the same age. Trump is almost the same age as him.
I know.
But Trump doesn't present that way. You know, you look at somebody right away.
Yeah,
you can kind of
I
just
see that
sum them
vibe.
up. I mean, we are not young, but we don't present as old.
Yeah.
Biden does. I saw him yesterday making that speech.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, he's cadaver-like.
Ouch, being compared to a
No,
cadaver while you're
cadaver-like?
still breathing. That's roast
wild.
level mastery.
That's
It also neatly
wild.
ties into the ever popular theory that Biden isn't really calling the shots and is just a puppet while the real power players lurk behind the curtain. By the time Maher dropped his final truth bomb, Hosten's arguments were nothing more than dust, and the woke narrative had been shattered. The woke mob never stood a chance. And that's a wrap for today's video.
All right, guys. I just basically wish that we could kind of come back together, guys. That's it. It's the same thing. Like with all the videos that you guys send me, my general consensus is we just need to come back to the point where we can have some civility here, along with being able to see everything in the instance. And that doesn't make any sense. Like everything about a singular instance, let's say. I don't edit videos here, guys. Right? If we can do that, that'll be great. Instead of just following the narrative that your echo chamber is currently pushing, guys. There's so many blind spots by doing that. There's so many blind spots, and even Bill Maher definitely seems to be in one here, guys. Right? Both those countries have nothing to do with us. All right, they have nothing to do with us, bro. So I'm not sure why this is even in the conversation, why we're picking sides, because I would definitely like to know why we're doing that. I would love to know. I'd love to have a full grasp on why you chose this one other than the other one, other than the fact that maybe religion is specifically the case here. But that's also now weird. Right? Now, don't get me wrong here, guys. Listen, if we look at the world exclusively through Western eyes, everything is going to look terrible. Right? And I learned that kind of traveling through some of the countries in the Middle East, along with North Africa. Right? I realized instantly, if I look at this place specifically, like I'll give you an example of Morocco. I love Morocco, but experiencing Morocco, looking at it through my Western eyes, things are weird. Like there's a lot of super foreign things that could happen here. You have to be careful of, what you say when you say it. Specifically, don't speak about any royal families in your conversations. You don't want people to ever hear you say things like this. You just want to, be different. You have to move different. And when you're trying to judge another country's culture from your culture, you already lost. Like there's a couple of scenarios specifically in the country of Mauritania. My wife and I regularly frequent Mauritania, and it is absolutely wild for women there. Okay, women and young girls. It's crazy. Basically, open air markets, human markets, let's say, in places like this, right? And on a regular basis, we make sure that we go ahead and send products specifically for the young girls to places to specifically Mauritania. We try to help as much as humanly possible, but you have to look at every scenario differently because the world is not the West. It's not. It's just not. Like there are more people that do not live like we live than do. You know what I mean? Yes. But all right. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. The fact that you just made it to the end of the video says a whole lot, actually. We have a couple other channels. MrLboyd Music, MrLboyd Movie Reacts, along with MrLboyd Discusses, where I just generally speak about the things that specifically matter to me. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.